The midfoot strike is a newer concept that has gained popularity in recent years. It's a surprisingly poorly defined area of running due to the lack of a standard definition of the midfoot and the style of running that goes with it. So let's start there to try to fully understand this idea. Currently, there are 4 prominent definitions of the midfoot in running. The first is the 33-33-33 divide. This definition was used in running research in the 80s and 90s that artificially split the foot into thirds. The division is completely arbitrary since there was no anatomical foundation for where the division occurred. The second definition is a European division known as the middle foot. Here, the midfoot is defined by splitting the metatarsals from the phalanges at the ball of the foot. This would identify the forefoot as the toe region only, and the midfoot going from the ball of the foot to the edge of the heel. This large area has an undefined purpose. It splits the ball of the foot, the most used area of our foot, in half. The third definition is the most popular. It defines the midfoot and companion landing style as striking the ground with the forefoot and the heel simultaneously. Here's the reality. Precisely landing on 2 distinct points of our foot is nearly impossible to replicate consistently throughout a run. It would also require an active landing, a technique flaw that we will cover in the coming weeks. The fourth definition is the posed method definition. We define the midfoot as the arch of the foot. This is the natural division of the foot, giving the forefoot, where we suggest is the optimal landing area, a nice large surface for landing. If you flip over any athletic shoe, you'll see this similar division in the form of a large forefoot area. The fore area of the foot is where we land, the mid region of our foot is our arch, and even with flat feet, a runner simply cannot land there. The obvious issue is that popular interpretations of the midfoot are not based on anatomy, but rather word association. The truth is, most runners today that consider themselves midfoot strikers actually fall under the anatomical definition of landing on their forefoot. Now, understand that simultaneously striking the ground with the forefoot and the heel, as the popular definition suggests, happens less than 5% of the time during a normal run. In practice, this popular definition of midfoot running would actually be categorized as landing somewhere between a fully extended heel strike and the forefoot strike. Whether you're landing somewhere in that middle ground or you're truly landing simultaneously on the heel and the forefoot, this is where your body position will be in relation to your foot when it hits the ground. Science has shown that similarly to the heel strike, midfoot striking leads to the same eccentric knee load. The positive thing about the midfoot strike is that the joints aren't locked, but the body being significantly behind the foot puts excess strain on the tendons and ligaments in the knee. Time on support is reduced, but it's still longer than a forefoot landing pattern. Taking a look at the pressure path, there are 2 points of initial contact. This can be a jarring impact that can put stress on the plantar fascia. Once again, the pressure circles the heel and then goes forward as the foot begins to get pulled off the ground. Just like the heel strike, you will still pass through the running pose. It's important to note that since you landed ahead of your body, you will most likely arrive at the running pose past the vertical, leading to a loss of potential falling time. So in summary, chances are most midfoot runners are actually forefoot strikers by definition. But for those that are determined they are running according to the definition of landing flat on the entire foot, it's not as bad to land in more of a midfoot strike pattern as opposed to heel striking, but it's still far from the desired landing pattern.